Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Wind Waker Unflooded, a 3D modeling fan art project where I am reimagining Hyrule in the art style and world of The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. This is an ambitious 3D modeling project, but it is all possible thanks to all of my contributors and patrons. Thank you all so much for all of your support and comments. All of your ideas are super meaningful. Thank you all for commenting and leaving comments on these videos and replies and sharing your passion with me. I want y'all to know I really mean that, and I say this in every video, but feel free, just like let me get it off my chest. If you see something and you're like, I don't like what you're doing, or you have your own ideas about new locations or ideas that you want to see in this project, I want to hear them. So give me your thoughts down below. I read every comment that I can. So thank you all just so much for watching. But without further ado, let's talk about today's video, the current progress on Wind Waker Unflooded. Just for clarification, this is a prologue to the Wind Waker. I'm trying to create Hyrule as it existed right before the Great Flood. And so today I'm working more on the area around the northern Kakariko village, around, just off the base of Windfall. We see, of course, Windfall Island in the Wind Waker, and so we are now developing the mountainscape around it. We all know, of course, the islands of the Great Sea are the mountaintops of Hyrule. But what do those mountains look like? We see the mountaintops. Let's see the mountain. So most of today's work is just working on the terrain and just trying to figure out the general scope of what does it mean to walk up to Windfall and how does it connect to Kakariko Village from Ocarina of Time. And I'm making that connection because I think that's very much intentional. It seems to me that Kakariko Village is definitely meant to have turned into Windfall. And I know that there's differences, right, geographically, and I know this is something that I think I've discussed on this channel before, is that, in the Wind Waker, Dragon Roost Island is 2 quadrants away from Windfall Island. But in Ocarina of Time, Death Mountain is, Kakariko Village is right there at the base of Death Mountain. And that is just not true for this project. And to me, it's just, obviously Ocarina of Time is a huge reference, and it is, but it's not the source of all truth for the geography of this project. This is its own world. And so I'm pulling ideas from Ocarina of Time, I'm pulling ideas from Twilight Princess, I'm pulling ideas from Breath of the Wild and Skyward Sword even, because it's all one Hyrule. I think you can pull from any game. That said, it all really comes down to Wind Waker. And Wind Waker puts those, I'm not going to move Windfall Island because Windfall Island has a quadrant in Wind Waker. And I think the Kakariko Village is supposed to be underneath Windfall Island. So even if it doesn't quite match up with Ocarina of Time's geography, it's close. Only 2 quadrants away is a lot closer than the Forest Haven is to Dragon Roost. It's close. And I like that there's more of a build-up to the mountains of Death Mountain, right? That range has, there's more space in between it and Kakariko Village. I like that. I like that there's a geographic separation, right? That you have to cross the canyon, climb the mountain, and that's something that, there's space in between. The Gorons kind of have their own region. I like that. I like that there's space. But I guess I just want to address that because that's a comment that I've received before. Just this question of just in Ocarina of Time, we see it one way, but now in this project, it's different. And it's okay that it's different. And in between Zelda games, it's different. And, I don't know, the geography of Zelda is, it's an impossible task to try to make everything line up. And I just want to address that I'm aware of that this project is all about the geography of Zelda. This is a Zelda map project where I'm trying to bring ideas from different games together. By necessity, I worry about the geography of Hyrule, but it's an impossible theory to make everything fit, right? It's just, it's impossible because the games are different. And I love that about Zelda. I love that Hyrule can be reinterpreted. I love that the developers allow themselves to be creative and say, hey, I know we did it this way in the game before. We're going to do it this way here. This mountain's going to be over here. This village is going to be over here. This lake is going to be over here. Maybe that's a little bit different than the Hyrule that you know, but we're making a new thing. So we're going to do it a new way. And I like that. I like that mentality. And I think that, when you're making art, the artisticness of it should come first. The creativity of it, what you have to express. And it should always feel honest. And if you're ever holding yourself back, that can be problematic. And obviously it's when you're building a connected universe, you want it to be connected. You want the lore to add up. You want the geography to remain somewhat consistent. But also, I think there's such value in creativity and just, allowing yourself to say, hey, it's okay that things change. It's okay that, I grow and have new ideas. And I want to come to Wind Waker Unflooded with that spirit as well, celebrating new creativity, new ideas. And I'm trying to honor the Wind Waker's map and be consistent with that C chart. But beyond that, it's also room for a lot of new interpretations, new mountains, new geography, new rivers. It's a new version of Hyrule, and I don't feel beholden to be consistent with a particular game. And I don't think the developers of Zelda do either, and I think that that's okay. That's part of this franchise, and I think that's part of doing fan projects in this franchise as well, is just being comfortable with that decision. And I am trying to respect lore, and I've said that before. I'm trying to respect lore, but I'm also doing my own thing. So I just want to voice all of that because I know that anytime I do videos focusing on the progress of a certain location, that sometimes just certain places on the map bring up those kinds of conversations. And Windfall Island, in its proximity to Death Mountain, is just something that it's it comes up. It's a little more clear that there are discrepancies, right? You could call them contradictions between games and their lore and their geography, but to me they're discrepancies. They're creative differences between the maps of different games, and that's okay. That is perfectly okay. It's hard to make peace with that, right? And I think that if you're trying to make it consistent, it's hard to make peace with that. But as I don't know, I'm approaching Wind Waker Unflooded as a fan, but as a creator first, right? But I'm doing my best. I want y'all to hear that I'm doing my best. But anyway, I'm just rambling. I'm excited about this though, and this isn't like I said, this is pretty much just a terrain video. I'm focusing on the paths of what does it mean to get to Windfall, right? And there's more things I want to develop with the town, right? Right now the town is just at the top of the mountain, and I want to create some buildings kind of along the way. I think it's okay that it's concentrated, and I like that Windfall Island is kind of a solitary kind of keep at the top of the mountain, as if it's fortified, right? So I think it makes sense that the town is still concentrated there. I don't think it needs to be spread out throughout the mountain. I think that that's okay. But I do want a little bit more of trading stops along the way and different elements there. But that's a future video. This video is just literally more just about the terrain and figuring out the mountainscape itself and adding a new river next to it and just kind of connecting the geography, right? Because I guess that's always the thing, right? Is there's times where I could fill in the gaps really quickly between locations, but I always want to hold off just in case. I'm well, maybe I want that to be a landmark. But here I'm we were able to pretty much connect it, I think, all the way to the geography of around Paw Print Isle. I think it's completely connected now, which is nice. That took a while. So there's at least the map's coming together, and it's nice to be able to say that, right? And I feel good about that. And it's simple. There's not much there, but it's nice that there are hills in between Paw Print Isle, and there's a direct connection all the way from Kakariko to Death Mountain. There's only a couple of parts of the map that you can say that for. There's a lot of sporadic work, right? And Great Fish is not, I don't think, is completely connected to anything. It's kind of a standalone work right now. Same with Zora's Domain and the Lost Woods, their progress right now. But there's a couple of places in the map where you could in theory walk along a path and get a significant way. And we have Windfall all the way to Death Mountain now, with the Bridge of Eldin in between. We have Hyrule Castle's path goes to Lon Lon Ranch, and then just past Lon Lon Ranch, there's a river that connects all the way to Lake Hylia, where Outset Island is, next to the Great Plateau. So there's parts of the map that have that through line and are connected, and you can see big portions of the map that are all threaded together, and that really excites me, right? Just to have big connection points like that, because that's a nice way of charting progress, things going from being isolated to being connected, right? And that's a nice thing to see come together, right? I don't know. I'm really excited about this project, and it's always inspiring to work on it. I really enjoy Wind Waker Unflooded. It's very meditative, right? And I've had some comments down below before where people were you talk about it as if it's meditative, but this looks like a lot of work. And it is work, and I'm whittling away at it, but it's a hobby. It's fun. I do this instead of there's I could be playing Fortnite, right? This is what I'm doing with my leisure time, right? And I'm making a choice to say hey, and I'm not saying that this is incredibly more productive, but it is creative. Just with that extra energy that I have, where I would be playing Fortnite or binging a TV show, I'm whittling away at this project. in my leisure time, and I'm thankful to be working on it and to have something I can share with y'all. Like that's nice, but like it is just like it's always a project that I enjoy working on, and Wind Waker Unflooded just it brings me peace to work on, just to ground myself in this world that I love, in the Wind Waker's art style, in Hyrule's geography and history and lore and locations. And it's always pleasant, right? And it's just like, I don't know, it reminds me of all of the things that I love about different real world locations. And like, it's something that like, I don't know, like this is such a cartoonish project, but like there are parts of the map that I want you to feel like, oh, like I get that this is from the point of view of a traveler, right? You can look at how you would hike a mountain, and there's views like that's something that really excites me already. Is just that like the view from the top of a mountain is just so majestic in this world, right? And I'm really proud of how different things have come together, and I think there's a lot of beauty there, and I think a lot of that just comes from the work that the original developers did, creating these textures to begin with, and these models and these worlds. And I don't know, like I feel like what I'm adding to it is just supporting the work of the original team that made Wind Waker, right? And I don't know, like you can quantify like the space that Wind Waker Unflooded is taking up, like the geography, and you can look at like the sea chart, and you can say like, well, there's so much unfilled space in the original sea chart that I'm now filling. So like in theory, are the original GameCube models like they may only be 5% of the map, but like that's not exactly how it works, right? Because I'm using their textures, I'm reusing assets and models when appropriate, right? There's a lot of this map that is built upon the foundation of like the original team, and so it's like it's really made me appreciate their work and their modeling conventions and how much they can get done with just a little. Wind Waker is like surprisingly low poly, even for a GameCube game, and just like that efficiency with like you can be really creative and create a world without needing to make something super geometrically complex. And I think that that's inspiring. And just like the fact is like 3D modeling used to be very intimidating to me, and it still is. Like it's an art that I respect, right? Like, and it's something that I still feel like a beginner at. But like it's been nice just to work on something where I feel like it's approachable, where I'm like I feel like I'm capable of helping bring this world to life in a way that like I'll be happy with. Like that's nice. That like I don't think I'm the best 3D modeler or anything, you know, by far. I think I have a lot to learn. But this is a project that like I think I'll be able to do it justice, and I'm excited about that. And I'm excited to share it all with you. So I think we'll wrap up the video. Thank you all just for listening to me ramble. Comment down below any locations you want to see me work on next, what other parts of the map you want to see get worked on. So yeah, just thank you all for watching. Thank you all so much for your support. And without further ado, I'll let you go. Now, if you're looking for other ways to support me, as always, you can support me as a creator by becoming a member on Patreon. There you'll get access to all kinds of exclusive behind-the-scenes content like in-progress outlines, scripts, storyboards, rough cuts, and even soundtracks for my newest films. By becoming a member, you'll also be thanked in the credits for any film I finish during your membership. You can also support me by streaming my music. I compose all of the scores for my own short films, and you can listen to those soundtracks on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you listen to music. Just look up Joe Kendrick. That's JoeKendrick. Y'all have a wonderful day, and without further ado, I'll let you go.